Yo, what's up guys? Welcome back to my channel, How to Drum and Bass, where it is my job, amongst other things, to teach you how to make the sounds that the top producers are using right now, the stuff that's popular at this very moment. And this sound is definitely something that's just been blowing up. I don't think half of the songs that use this sound are even released yet, but one really great example is in Sota's song, Mesmer. It's actually used in lots more of his songs, but a really great example is here at sort of the 135 mark in this drop. You have this super chirpy, well, I don't even know what to call it. So that I don't even think this sound has a name yet, so I'm going to call it an acid jump up stab. The reason why we'll get into in a minute, but what we're going to create today sounds like this. Or what you see also a lot in songs is where it's just a little bit shorter and where the timing is like on a quarter note triple, which is like this. And it's usually used in like a call and response pattern in like those crazy jump up songs that you hear at every single goddamn festival as of these days. And so the great thing is that this sound is actually really easy to make. It's just got a couple of, just interesting tweaks to it that sort of make this extremely chirping tonality. The reason that I just kind of named it an acid jump up stab is because if you look at sort of the original acid sounds, it kind of sounds like that, and I don't know what else it sounds like. Stuff like that, or like it has that froggy essence of it, but then just a lot longer. And I actually know how to make these patches, so figuring this out wasn't all too hard. So let's see how we can make that from scratch and what we can do and change about it to make it our own sound. As always, you can download this as a free preset in the link below, but if you're looking for this sound with a whole bunch of macros on it and over 150 other super high quality presets, then go have a look at the Drum and Bass Essentials preset pack. This is our flagship Serum preset pack, which contains almost every single lead, bass, womp, hit, fill, and sub that you could possibly need to start producing high quality drum bass right now. So let's start with a new patch. The basis of this patch is just going to be a super simple saw wave. I don't think you want to change too much about this because the reason that we're using a saw wave is just because it's very harmonically rich, and I think that's what we need. And then the second thing is we're going to use an LFO and a filter with a lot of resonance. So we're going to make something like this or like this. It depends a bit on how you want the movement to go. We're going to apply that to the cutoff here. And we're going to pick an MG low filter. It doesn't really matter which one, but I'm going to pick the 18. Or actually, let's pick the 6, and I'll let you hear the difference in a minute. We're going to adjust this cutoff to be something like this, and we're going to put the resonance up kind of high, like somewhere past this point. And we're going to put the fat up, so if you don't know what that does, well, you can actually see it on the screen, but basically it makes sure that whatever the resonance accentuates becomes fatter. It's almost like an extra Q factor type thing, but we're going to leave this drive down here. And you can already hear that we're already getting something really, really close to this sound. Now, what we want to do first of all is we want to get an EQ here, and we don't really need all that low end, so let's take that out. Let's take this bump away as well, and let's make sure that we only keep some of this top end stuff. Nice. Let's also move this up a bit to sort of where we want it to be. And then we're going to start adding some effects. So we can definitely add some hyper and dimension. We actually don't want dimension, we just want hyper. We want to turn that down to just to give it a little bit of extra sort of that phasiness sound to it. Let's also make sure to put this LFO on trigger mode so that it repeats after every note, or if I keep it pressed. And let's add a compressor somewhere after this EQ and put the threshold kind of high because we want to get all those dynamics out there. I get it nice and aggressive. Let's also add a little bit of tube distortion. Not too much. And let's actually add this hyper after the distortion maybe, or even after this EQ, or even after this compressor, to make it extra aggressive.
Hey, quick break. If you're enjoying these videos and you like my style of teaching and you've been feeling like you want to get more into sound design, specifically for drum and bass, then maybe you want to check out my brand new online course called Drum and Bass Sound Design Mastery. It's an absolutely massive course with over 150 videos spanning 14 hours of content where we teach you two things. In the first half, we teach you everything there is to know about synthesizing sound in Serum. And in the second part, we show you how to use that knowledge to create the most popular sounds in drum and bass. I guess you can see it like the ultimate masterclass of drum and bass sound design. So if that sounds like something you could be interested in, check the link in the description below to find out more about this awesome course. All right, let's get on with the video.
All right, then let's put a filter in that as well. We're gonna put a comb filter there just to get some extra peaks and troughs to make it super gnarly. So we're gonna pick a combs here, but I guess you could also probably use one of the flange filters depending on what you want to achieve in terms of like the end result. We're gonna pick a combs here. We're gonna turn that cutoff up. And we're gonna put that resonance up quite a bit as well. Now, I just want to mind you that this is going to get pretty aggressive, so I'm actually going to put a limiter on here just so that I don't hurt my ears or yours. So let's put this at like, let's say -5 or something. Then also, let's kind of change the shape of this to sort of slope upwards a bit so that we keep a bit more bulk in the sound. All right, let's put some reverb at the end of the chain as well and some delay. We're going to give this a tail to make it sound slightly more metallic. So what we're going to do in the delay is we're going to put the feedback up quite a bit and we're going to put the mix, we'll see about that in a minute, but we're going to put these at super fast intervals. So one of them is going to be 164 and one of them is going to be 132. What this is going to do, if we also adjust this filter, is it's going to give it a super metallic tail. If you turn up the mix all the way, you can hear that. Sounds super, super sick, right? So, and you can change the tonality of that as well as you move around this filter. So I probably want something like that, but we got to dial this mix down because we also want the original sound. You can also hear that that's obviously way too much reverb, so let's also work on that. Let's turn this down a bit. Maybe even more. And let's also put that decay down a whole bunch so that we don't have that much roominess. And the size as well. By the way, this reverb is actually not completely necessary. It's just an option that you have. We can also choose to take it off. All right, let's also maybe add a chorus somewhere here. That's however going to make it sound very dispersed. That could be cool, but that's maybe not what we want. So let's turn this rate down actually so that the LFO of this chorus doesn't move the internal LFO. We can already hear we're getting some really nice scrunchy tones from that. So, and let's play with these delays. Cool. We can even choose to up the frequency of this here to kind of take out that droney low end. Nice. And then let's see what happens when we turn the drive on these combs up. Nice, we're gonna make it even more aggressive. One final thing that you could choose to do is to chop off the tiny bit of these highs. Maybe not that much, but maybe just, you know, some of the stuff that makes it particularly harsh. And maybe dial back the mix of this chorus a little bit as well. So that it sounds a tiny bit thinner, because that is also gonna make it sound a little bit more sort of crunchy. And yeah, all we need to do is basically take an LFO and put it at the right rate to sort of emulate what's happening in that Mesmerize song. So yeah, you can choose to do it as a stab, and jump up stabs often happen in triplets. So you wanna enable this trip option here. We can put it at 1/4 triplets, or even at a half triplets. Or if you want that long bend basically from the Mesmerize song, it's I think at a bar T. And then finally what you can do is you can play with the cutoff of this filter. So basically this super high pitchy chirpiness is coming from obviously this resonance with this fat button here. And we can sort of change where that comes from, right? You can change the range and you can also change the position of the knob. I think for me, I probably like something about where we had it. Something like that. And then finally, if you wanted to make it extra gritty, you could go ahead and pick on the warp knob here, this PWM, and basically, well, sort of make this waveform smaller. And you'll hear what that does as well. Let's put this back actually on something stabby so it's quick and you can hear nicely what that does. It's just gonna make it ever so slightly more pinned. Yeah, and so what you can do then is you can just play around with some After Effects. You could maybe even add a Foreman filter on here. You could try and distort parts of the sound with some multiband distortion, and maybe just add like a big fat sub under this as well. And yeah, the end result will sound something like this. So yeah, I think that's the video, guys. Super quick sound, but very, very interesting. You hear it all over the place, and let's face it, it is fucking sick, and it makes you pull a bass face like nothing else, right? I don't know about you, but I'm super excited to hear what's coming out with these kinds of sounds and what's gonna be on the festival speaker this summer. So let's all start making music with these insane sounds and maybe contribute a little bit to the repertoire of this summer. All right, guys, thank you so much for watching. If you feel like you learned something today and I helped you out, then please consider leaving a comment below letting me know whether this was helpful or not. Any engagement that you do, a like or a comment or anything else, really helps me push this channel towards more people like you who want to learn about drum bass production. And if you want to learn more about how to produce professional drum and bass, make sure to check out our website, howtodrumandbass.com, where you will find everything you'll ever need to produce better and more professional drum and bass. All right, guys, that was the video. Thank you so much, and I'll see you in the next one.